Hey movie fans, we're getting closer to Batman v Superman, so today I thought I'd go with a really epic video. We'll go with the top 10, yep, not top 5, top 10 best Batman movie moments. Now I won't just be going with the live actions, I'll be going any Batman movie, as long as it's one per movie. Number 10, which is the most recent Batman movie, Batman Bad Blood. The scene in question, which barely cracks the list number 10, is actually the finale. Without dipping too much into spoiler territory, Bad Blood, the most recent DC animated feature, revolves around the Bat family investigating the disappearance of Batman and what happens when he's not around, who fills in that void. In the end of the film, when basically the entire family is reunited, it's a great moment to show that Batman really is not alone in his endeavors. It's not just him, despite what he tries to tell people and what he believes himself. At number 9, we go with another animated film. This time we go with Batman vs. Dracula. Yes, you heard that right. Batman vs. Dracula. One that dwells in the shadows and preys on the fears of mortals and Dracula. In the final confrontation between the Batman versus Dracula. Why do I like it and have this on this list? Because so far to this day, it is the only movie, and this specific scene in particular, that really shows that Batman is a genius scientist. He uses science to defeat the mythical Dracula. He uses the power of the sun in the middle of the night with using advanced technology to overcome his foe. It was a nice new angle that we hadn't seen on the character, one that was vastly unique. It showed, yes, Batman is a scientist. He owns Wayne Enterprises, which is a scientific company, as well as other different things. But he has a scientific mind as an asset to the character that we hadn't seen exploited in other films or in other respects yet. At number 8, we go to live action with I'm Batman from 1989. Oh wait, I'm Batman. That's more of a Michael Keaton Batman impersonation, because no matter how hard you try, you can't really get a good Batman, but that's about as close as you're going to get from me. But this scene really established Batman to the character that we know and love today, of the dark and gritty. Before this, I was still trying to shake off the image of the Adam West 1960s Batman, of campy and fun, which at its time worked incredibly well. But when 1989 rolled around and Tim Burton was making a new Batman, that's not really the Batman that the world wanted to see anymore. So that emphatic statement of I'm Batman told the world that goofy, ridiculous days are not here anymore. At number 7, we have the Fire Stare Down from Gotham Knight, which Gotham Knight in and of itself is a very underrated movie. What it is 5 or 6 different short films about Batman, all done by different artists and writers, so it's basically 5 different people's interpretation of the same character. And one of the scenes in particular, 2 of Commissioner Gordon's men are caught in a crossfire, and there's no way out except Batman. He comes in and saves the day. However, he has to deal with some major crime bosses in his way. Explosions happen, and Batman, hoping to strike fear into the hearts of the enemies around him, basically walks through the fire and just decides to stay in that fire for a while and just stare down everyone there, saying, "This is my territory, these are Gordon's men, do not touch them." It really gave this great image that Batman strikes fear into the hearts of everyone, probably including Commissioner Gordon's men at this point, but it gave him this unearthly quality, which Batman so desperately wants his persona to be. He's larger than life. It was basically a touch me, I dare you to do something moment that we all like to see every once in a while in a Batman film. At number 6, we move to the more emotional with a scene from Batman Begins, which is the scene of Why Do We Fall? At this point, Wayne Manor is in shambles. It's on fire because Bruce had to set it on fire so he could escape the house party that was basically a distraction set to him by Roz, so he needs to basically get everybody out, get to the Batcave, and save the day. So he sets his own house on fire. It's Batman logic, whatever. But basically, he's questioning Alfred on the way down to the Batcave. He's just like, how could I do this? How could I destroy my family's reputation? And Alfred gives him advice that he gave to him when he was only a small child. Why do we fall? So that we can learn to pick ourselves up. To which Bruce says, "You haven't given up on me?" Never. It shows this really great relationship between Bruce and Alfred that I really think needs to be tapped into more, because Alfred at its core is Bruce's father figure. He's the one constant through all the years. Yes, you could have all the dead sidekicks you want, but Alfred's not going anywhere. But it's a great scene, and before this, believe it or not, the only good Batman Bruce Alfred scene we had was in Batman and Robin. Let that sink in. At number 5, we have a scene from The Dark Knight Rises. Yes, actually there are some good things out of The Dark Knight Rises. However, there's one really standout scene in my mind, and that is the pit. In The Dark Knight Rises, Bane essentially breaks Batman's back and leaves him on the other side of the world for some reason. Batman basically is just like, I gotta get myself out of this pit, I gotta go save my people. He climbs up this pit that's basically a metaphor for a well that he fell down when he was a kid. He climbs up it twice, both times, utterly, completely failing. Eventually, he realizes that he needs to embrace the fear he's been running from for his entire life. Fear is ultimately what drove him to become Batman. And him climbing out of this pit without the help of a harness, and basically embracing the possibility of him dying and embracing this fear, leads him to conquer what he's been running from for so long. It's basically him conquering his Batman identity. His Batman identity was just, this is my own fear. I'm going to expel it on all the criminals of Gotham. Now it's a matter of, I don't have fear anymore. I have conquered what made me fearful to begin with falling down the well and being attacked by bats. It's what made me afraid of bats to begin with. But now that I've conquered that, there's nothing to stop me from becoming the man I need to be. At number 4, we have the Red Hood fight from Batman, Under the Red Hood. So Red Hood is essentially Jason Todd, the second Robin. The first Robin grew up to be Nightwing. Woo! Second Robin died at the hands of the Joker. Oh. But then he was resurrected to become Red Hood. Yay! But Red Hood is a vigilante psychopath that kills people. Oh. So Red Hood basically has the same morals as Batman, minus the fear of killing. He kills those who aren't afraid. So Batman knows he has to stop him, but when he realizes that it's his fallen son, Jason Todd, he realizes this emotional weight of, I don't want to stop you because you were my son. I lost you once, and I'm losing you now again, and I need to find a way to change your fate. It's a great emotional and aggressive fight as they really duke it out. You can feel with every hit of the emotional weight that both men have of mentor versus very angry apprentice. It was kind of a less exaggerated version of the Obi-Wan Anakin fight, except you care about these characters. Thanks, Hayden Christensen. But these two characters, like Batman and Red Hood, since they have this history and this anger, it really made for a great fight. One that I actually think will happen someday on the big screen with these Ben Affleck standalone Batman movies. It's basically going to happen. They've more or less said that they're going to do Under the Red Hood storyline, so fine with me. At number 3, we have the interrogation scene from The Dark Knight. This scene is absolutely the standout, not only in The Dark Knight film itself, but in the overall trilogy. Just seeing the two actors of Christian Bale and Heath Ledger really play off each other and seeing how insane Heath Ledger's Joker really was. For me, the best part of this scene is when Batman's beating up Joker and Joker essentially says, you have nothing to threaten me with. You have nothing on me, because he knows he's won. He's got this in the bag. He's just like, I got you, dude. There's nothing you can do about it. All with a smile on his face as he takes this massive beating. And it's just this duality of good and evil, just looking at each other in a cordial conversation across the table before all hell breaks loose. And it just goes to chaos, because Joker is an agent of chaos. If you really want to know what the Dark Knight trilogy is all about, just watch the interrogation scene from The Dark Knight. At number 2, we have the Clash of the Champions, Batman vs. Superman, The Dark Knight Returns. You knew this had to be on the list somewhere. So what it is Dark Knight Returns is one of the most famous comic books of all time, penned by the great Frank Miller, who did a lot of great work with both Batman and Daredevil. Basically, Batman comes out of retirement, and Superman works for the U.S. government in the Reagan administration, because this came out in the 80s. So Reagan is just like, Batman is too powerful, Superman, there's nothing left. He's basically letting Gotham run amok. You need to stop him, which leads to the ultimate showdown between Batman and Superman, and they hold no bars. They just go at it, and I'm not going to say who wins, because hopefully we find out a definitive winner in Batman v Superman. It's not just like a, participation battle for you both. You both tie, and there is no definitive winner. Brawn with Superman versus the power of man and the power of willpower, and thinking ahead with Batman. Two most famous DC gladiators, comic book gladiators when you really think about it, of all time, duking it out before an epic conclusion. What is the greatest Batman moment in movie history? You might be surprised, but it is Batman donning the cowl in Mask of the Phantasm. Now, Mask of the Phantasm, in my mind, is the most criminally underrated Batman movie of all time. Probably one of the most criminally underrated just comic book movies of all time. This is actually a movie that came out in theaters that you probably still didn't know about. So there's this character that's essentially doing what Red Hood does. It's killing off certain mobsters, and then Batman's getting framed for it because this character looks an awful lot like Batman. This story balances very well of modern storytelling of what's happening in the current with Phantasm, as well as some nice flashbacks. And we see Batman had a love once. He had happiness in his life. He had someone that he was willing to hang up the cape and cowl for and settle down as a regular human being that had $1 billion, because those people exist, I guess. But something goes horribly wrong, and Batman knows there's going to be no happiness in his life. And it's really one of the best moments of I am Batman. The music swells, and you see Batman in shadow. We haven't seen what he looks like. He's just contemplating putting on the mask of, do I really want to go down this road? Do I want to become the Batman now? He slips on the mask, the music swells, he turns around, and Alfred is terrified. Bruce Wayne is now gone in Alfred's eyes, because you could see this shocked and terrified expression. There is no more Bruce Wayne, there is only Batman. Well, what do you guys think are the greatest Batman movie moments of all time? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, if you like what you see and want to see more, subscribe to the channel, or find me on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram at 17 Movie Reviews. Stay sharp, movie guys and gals!